So last time Narad was talking about God's secret plan. He has already said the death of Satyavan must occur. Now that death of Satyavan is therefore linked up with God's secret plan. He must die. Behind that, there is a secret plan of God. And then, of course, he goes on to elaborate that this plan has to be executed, and it is being executed by many known and unknown Masons. And of those unknown Masons and known Masons, Savitri is one master builder. Now, he has simply said here that there is a secret plan of God, and that plan is linked up with the death of Satyavan. But he has not so far indicated what that plan is. He says secret plan. He has not made clear what that plan is and how Savitri is going to contribute in effecting that plan, in bringing that thing into operation. Now that is what we are going to see now in this last portion of the book. And as I said many times, of course, that from this point onward, Queen Strinomore 112.43 till the end of the section, these 72 lines were absolutely the last dictation made by Sri Aurobindo around 15th November 1950. Absolutely the last dictation of Savitri. In fact, not only Savitri, of all his literary activities. So that has a kind of a seal of finality in what he wanted to convey in terms of writing. These 72 lines were added in view of the decision which is going to be effected shortly in another 3 weeks. On 5th December 1950, his withdrawal. That is a momentous event, and on that momentous event, we have some hints available in these 72 lines, and also some idea of God's secret plan. What is? Now, would Narad really know the integrality of the secret plan, the total impact it is going to have? That is perhaps not immediately discernible. He would not know all the details. But he surely had the intuition of the way in which things are going to move. When he came here from his home in paradise, chanting the name of Vishnu, singing 5 songs, he was singing the song of creation, and where this songs are going to lead the creation to. To what point, where will the creation be led? That is what he was singing in those 5 songs. Now we can quickly see he sang of the glory and marvel still to be born. 106.11. He sang of the glory and marvel still to be born, of the Godhead throwing off at last its veil, the veil of inconscience which the Godhead had put on himself, that will be discarded. Of bodies made divine and life made bliss. He is talking of bodies made divine, the physical itself, and life made bliss. Now it is here, of bodies made divine and life made bliss. It is not of life made bliss and bodies made divine. It is not the other way around. It is not life made bliss and bodies made divine. Obviously, unless the body is made divine, life cannot be bliss. As long as it is not divine, there is grief, there is sorrow, there is suffering. So the entire thrust of Narad's song is of the bodies being made divine. Immortal sweetness clasping immortal might, heart sensing heart, thought looking straight at thought, and the delight when every barrier fails, and the transfiguration and the ecstasy. So that is what he is singing. He sang the glory and marvel still to be born of transfiguration. First transfiguration and then ecstasy. First body made divine, then life becoming bliss. And as he sang, the demons wept with joy, forcing the end of the long, dreadful task, and the defeat for which they hoped in vain. And glad release from the self-chosen doom, and return into the one from whom they came, going back to their source. They had taken upon themselves a very difficult task, a very onerous task with full responsibility to be the adversary of the divine. It really something great. And they had taken it upon themselves because it is by being so, being the adversary of the divine, that the divine purpose is promoted. So they had accepted that extreme state also. Now they are happy that the moment has come for them to abandon that role of theirs and go back to the divine source. They are separated from the divine source, so they are now happy to go back to the divine source. So bodies made divine and life made bliss. That is the secret plan of God. And in the execution of that plan, Savitri is one master builder. Savitri is one master builder. So the song of creation is now getting completed in the fulfillment of the purpose of life through Savitri. And when such great issues are involved, naturally any human reaction should not come in the way, should be dismissed, has no value, has no content in it, and it should be kept aside. And therefore now he addresses to the queen, be away from here. Your role is not there. You cannot stand in the way of the secret plan of God. Satyavan's death, the secret plan, bodies made divine, life made bliss. These are the issues in the world. You have no role there. Human is too limited, too small even to comprehend, to grasp the implications of what is really involved in the entire process. Please keep away from that and let Savitri do what she has come to. She is aware of it. She has recognized it in her soul. And that is what Narad is asserting again. Queen, try no more to change the secret will. That is the secret will. Times, accidents, or steps in the vast scheme. Now, he is speaking of accidents. He is also talking of plan, secret plan and accident. Well, the blueprint of God is perfect, but it has to pass through the cosmic process. And there are cosmic agents, cosmic forces. The process of time is there, and they have their own interventions in the execution of that blueprint. And therefore, times, steps are involved. Now, times, accidents, or steps in the vast scheme. Actually, on the human plane, the whole thing appears to be a series of accidents. Savitri is going from place to place. Satyavan is going from place to place. They suddenly meet and all that thing. It is a kind of an accident that Satyavan's father should lose his kingdom. He becomes blind, lose his kingdom, get driven to the forest, and there he grows up into full youth, meets Savitri and all that. These are accidents of time. These are accidents of time. One might say that planned accidents in the process of time. In the vast scheme, they occur in the vast scheme, planned accidents. And therefore, Savitri's meeting Satyavan is a welcome event. There is a greater intention, a secret will is there, and it is that she must recognize. Bring not thy brief and helpless human tears. Now he is of course ridiculing this little lady. See, what are you here when such big issues are involved? Such big issues are involved. Across the fathomless moments of a heart, fathomless moments of a heart. Obviously, that is the fathomless moment of Savitri's heart. She is deeply concerned with larger issues. Fathomless moments of a heart that know the single will and God as one. Now, this is a little doubtful. Fathomless moments of a heart. Does Savitri know that it is God's will? Narad may be knowing it. Narad may be seeing behind these accidents of time something different. But Savitri may not yet see that. After all, Savitri is a human Savitri. She has not yet done yoga where single will and God's as one. Her will is one with God's will. She does not know it consciously. Her soul knows it. The response which comes from the soul, that is the response which is one with the will of God. Her soul's response. But the human element of Savitri is still there. And therefore, she has to go through the process also. She has to go through the process also. That knows the single will and God's as one. It can embrace its hostile destiny. Savitri does not know that, but Narad of course knows it. It sits apart with grief and facing death, affronting adverse fate, armed and alone. Now, Narada is anticipating these things. These are, to a certain extent, futuristic lines in terms of Savitri's yoga. At this moment of time, all that has done is Savitri's soul has awakened, it has come out fully, and it has recognized what she must do. She of course says, I know what is God's will, but that is her soul. But in order to meet the real difficulty, she has to prepare herself in a bigger way, in a deeper occult way. And that is what will happen in the next 7 cantos in the book of Yoga. Affronting adverse fate, armed and alone, armed. She has to become armed by doing yoga. Until then, she cannot really meet the challenge. And alone, of course, she alone can do that thing, none else. It is her yoga. Savitri yoga is Savitri yoga. And it is a specific yoga in the context of the master builder. The yoga of different master builders are different yogas. Savitri's yoga is of a different type. There is a kind of a uniqueness in the yoga of Savitri. And that is what she has to do. And that uniqueness is to meet adverse fate, to meet adverse fate. It is in that context. Now, we do not know really whether other master builders had to face adverse fate, whether they had to face adverse fate. Possibly, well, of course, in the case of Christ, he knew also that this is going to happen to him. He knew in advance that it was going to happen to him. The crucifixion, he had an idea of it in advance of that. But in the case of the other avatars, we don't know whether they knew of the adverse fate, whether they really faced the adverse fate. I don't know really whether we can talk that way. But still, let us raise the issue. Did the mother face adverse fate? Did she even though face adverse fate? What do you say?
I think it's a day of word. Because what she gets, we can call it like this, we can call it something else. I don't know. What do you think? How do you call it? So?
No, this is affronting adverse fate.
Even what you said, the Christ, he knew.
Correct.
He knew or he didn't knew. He received some adverse act, okay? So, or he knew and it was not adverse.
Yeah.
I don't know what you call it.
No, well, I mean, he accepted that always as the will of the God, will of Father.
Okay.
You see.
So, but is the will of God, we can call it adverse fate.
Yeah.
Can we call it adverse fate, the will of God?
No.
So what is it?
No, it's not. Yeah, exactly. No. No, what I'm saying is, really speaking, I don't think, of course, even though went to jail, this happened, that happened, all kind of times accidents taken place, and somehow he managed to come to Pondicherry, mother came to Pondicherry, and all those things happened, you see. We don't really call them adverse fate. Huh? See, adverse fate here, in the case of Savitri, is of the worst kind, in the sense that she is going to meet death. She has to confront him. She has to really challenge him and conquer him. That is the extreme kind of an adverse fate which she alone is encountering. She alone is encountering. And at that point, she does not know what is going to happen. She does not know what is going to happen at that point.
Yeah, but the mother is the same. She encountered she encountered all this which was against the divine manifestation,
Yeah.
against transformation. She had to transform all this in her own body. Oh, it's exactly what she had to encounter. Alone. Exactly. And on. It's true.
Very difficult question, I will say, whether adverse fate. See, whether really mother, she saw everything as a part of the process, and she had completely identified herself with the process of the divine's will. So she is not concerned. She is not really seeing as an adverse fate. She is seeing this as the aspects of pragmatics of doing things. Pragmatics. She is pragmatic. Well, this is this. And she also knows that there is a divine help, divine support, divine work, etc. You see. Whereas in the case of Savitri, till the last minute she has no idea what is going to happen. In the case of mother also. When it comes to the question of physical transformation, at that point, she is not in know of what is going to happen. And finally she says, Lord, whatever you will, succor to her. Always succor to her. That is her formula, that is her solution for the adverse fate. But in the case of Shaivanam, I don't think there was a question of adverse. He knew the difficulties, absolutely, and therefore he could will against them. There was nothing like an adverse fate. Yes, death is there. I will do this, I will do this, I will do this, I will do this. And finally, he fixes up the whole issue by withdrawing from the physical body. That is not adverse fate. That is a part of the process. That is a part of the process. You see. It's a willed decision.
You mean because he knew what
No, whether he knew or not, or whether he knew or not, yes, this is a problem. I will this way and do it.
But mother, she said same.
Mother finally says, Lord, whatever you will. The knowledge is not given to me. She says.
Yes.
But
it means it was adverse phase.
She says, I don't know. Knowledge is not given. Therefore, she says, Lord, whatever you will. No?
Yeah, but I don't understand. If she said like this, you mean it could be adverse fate?
No, I will not call. It is an extreme situation she is facing, of which at that moment of time, she has no idea what to do. She has no idea what to do. She says, knowledge is not given. Therefore, I will leave it to Lord. No, it's a very difficult question. In fact, we are talking, but
if she knows or she doesn't know, what is the relation with to be adverse or not adverse? You understand my question? I mean, she didn't know, you said, but surely he knew.
So is it this meaning adverse effect or not adverse effect? I can't understand this.
No, I don't know whether we can say shaping and due. We can't say that. All that we can say is he saw a certain issue, and all that he will do is by his yogic force will against that issue. Will against that issue.
So it means it was not adverse effect.
It could be, we say adverse in the sense that it is something which is not getting out of the way, and therefore keep on trying, keep on putting your effort, build up your tapasya, build up your effort, build up your yogic force to conquer it, to change it.
Apparently adverse.
Yes. No, it's not just apparent. No, it's not apparent. It is a real adverse.
Yes, but actually, even through adversity, it is useful to grow. It is part of the process.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
So it's not really adverse. I mean, it's part of the process. But
Well, in the final analysis, nothing is adverse. In the final analysis, nothing is adverse. What you are saying is basically the adverse situation is something by which you rise to your highest, best divine possibility. In that sense, you see, the divine possibility. Otherwise, you would have perhaps ignored it, and that would have remained as a problem.
so it is
So
useful.
for the same reason,
It is useful.
mother also was part of the process, I think, no?
Yeah, it is true. It is a part of the process. Yes, of course. Yeah.
And also what it happened for us also, I think.
Well,
If we can extend this
No,
question
no,
to
you see,
all the game of the creation,
yeah,
everything happened to us also, we can say it's we are given some what we call adverse. We are given this to
Possibly.
be able to improve.
possibly, but basically, you see, we are living constantly in ignorance. We don't even know whether it is adverse or positive. Yeah, we don't even know that, you see. Whereas they know it, you see. Shivanu has an assignation with the night. There is a rendezvous between him and the night. A purposeful meeting taken as a challenge to get the full impact of the night's force. So there is a constant yogic thrust in the direction of the divine movement in which they are taking things. Constant yogic thrust is there. So for them, you don't really call in that sense adverse, possibly. But here, at this stage, adverse because there is a great human element present. There is a great human element present, you see. Therefore, it is adverse. Whereas in the case of Mother Shivandu, there is not that element in that sense, you see. It is a situation which they are meeting. Savitri has to face it still as a human, you see. In this enormous world, standing apart. Now you see, the whole thrust of Nara's speech is Savitri is going to be alone, 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 standing apart. In fact, this phrase alone, this word alone, he keeps on repeating number of times in this part. Now, obviously, neither any human being around can help her, nor can nature help her, nor can gods help her. He says that gods from above and nature's soul below were the spectators of that mighty strife. Alone, gods above and nature's soul below, they were the spectators of that mighty strife. Alone, she was there. Nobody can help. Now, that again tells us the importance of why all that must happen in the deep forest. Satyavan goes in the morning for his work alone, along with Savitri. There is nobody else. The death does not take place in the hermitage. It takes place in a lonely forest. Because no human element should intervene in the occult battle which is going to occur. The gods above, they were spectators. They knew what was happening, but they don't know what is going to be the result at that time. In fact, on the fated day, Savitri gets up early in the morning and then worships goddess Durga. And then she goes to the forest along with Satyavan. Goddess Durga, she is the warrior goddess. At the same time, she is the one who gives full protection. Now, it is not the cosmic Durga. It is the divine Shakti herself who is watching from above all the movements of Savitri. And it is she who is working there. So, there should not be anybody else to intervene between these two. She has to be alone. In this enormous world, standing apart, in the mightiness of a siren spirit's will, in the passion of a soul of sacrifice, her lonely strength facing the universe, affronting fate. Ask not man's help nor God's. Sometimes one life is charged with Earth's destiny. It cries not for succor from time-bound powers. Well, this is straightforward. Obviously, see. Now, again he says, alone, apart, lonely strength. He keeps on repeating that thing. It cries not for succor. Nobody can help. And she is aware that nobody can help. She does not ask for anybody's help. There are rishis in the hermitages there who are accomplished sages who have acquired great spiritual power in them. Even that is not going to help her. She is not going to ask them. In the story of Mahabharata, on the fated day, Savitri worships the goddess and then she goes to all the hermitages, offers her respects to the elderly rishis, to all of them, bows down, offers her respects to them, and they give her blessings, all of them. They put their spiritual power in her, it means, and they say that you are endowed with a long, widowless life, long living life. They utter that thing. Savitri holds their words in her deep soul, meditates upon them. She is accomplished in the yoga of meditation, Dhyana Yoga Parayana. She is Dhyana yoga of meditation, Parayana, an expert, accomplished person. So, what the rishis are giving her as blessings, she absorbs their essence and puts in her soul. With all that human support, that is the best that she can receive. That is the best she can receive. Some of them too have some idea that Savitri is going to meet a dangerous situation. But they know she has to conquer. At the best, they can give their spiritual help to her to that extent. Goddess Durga, she will give her protection. But finally, it is Savitri who has to meet death and conquer it. It cries not for succor from time-bound power alone. She is equal to her mighty task. And then, intervene not in a strife too great for thee, a struggle too deep for mortal thought to sound. Is question of this nature's rigid bounds, when the soul fronts nude of ghastly infinite, is too vast theme of a lowly mortal will, pacing the silence of eternity, pacing the silence of eternity. Intervene not in a strife, intervene not. That we have seen earlier also. She said, don't intrude. You are an intruder, you see. Now he says, intervene not. Because you are a small creature. It is of no consequence at all whether you enter in or not. So best thing for you is to keep away from all these things, you see. Not in a strife too great for thee. That is the nature of human mind. We have all good will for somebody, but it is so inconsequential, so small, so feeble that it has no value. It has really no value, you see. And therefore, with all your emotions, etc., you keep away. Why he says intervene not? Because alone she is equal. Your help is not going to be of any consequence at all. Alone she is equal. A struggle too deep for mortal thought to sound. Obviously, is question to this nature's rigid bound, when the soul fronts nude of cars, the infinite. So it has thrown away all the outer veils and standing in front of infinite. It's too vast theme of a lonely mortal will. Again, it's a lonely, facing the silence of eternity. And now we have got here the famous simile. As a star, uncompanioned, moves in heaven, unastonished by the immensities of space, travelling infinity by its own light, the greatest, strongest, when they stand alone. So Savitri is a lonely star in the sky, and when it is alone, then it shines with its full intensity, with its full power. The greatest, strongest, when they stand alone. In other words, he is trying to tell us that Savitri is great and she is standing alone. Don't intervene. This simile, as a star and companion, is one of the most famous similes in Savitri. Now, let me tell you here. Now, this line is too vast theme of a lowly mortal will. Here, lowly mortal again we have seen. Now, whether it is too vast theme of a lowly mortal will, or too vast theme for a lowly mortal will. Now, here this line, we are talking of this line, is too vast theme of a lowly mortal will. Theme of a mortal will, or theme for a lowly mortal will. Not really. Well, practically, but still not really. But the text is off. We'll go by off, not by for.
What is the difference between if he put off?
It's first theme of mortal will. Theme for of mortal will. It's not that.
Yeah, but for a mortal will, he cannot have a vast thing.
No, therefore it says too vast. For a mortal will,
Yeah, it's too vast.
for a mortal, or too vast of a mortal. Mortal will cannot have that vastness. And for means as if you are possessing it. Pacing the silence of eternity. Silence of eternity. Because the future is unknown. Now, here we got to this is famous simile. As a star, uncompanioned, moves in heaven and astonished by the immensities of space. Now, here, you see, now Shivandu is writing this, dictating this passage in 1950, November 1950, as I said. These lines. And he recollects distinctly a similar passage from Wordsworth. Wordsworth. In Wordsworth, there is a passage very similar to that. And he has written a number of poems on Lucy, Wordsworth. And one of the poems, Lucy poems, has these following lines. She dwelled among the untrodden ways. He's talking of Lucy. Beside the springs of Dove, a maid whom there were none to praise, a lonely girl in the meadows, in the forest, in the farms, and very few to love, a farm girl, a violet by a mossy stone, a flower by a mossy stone, half hidden from the eye, fair as a star when only one is shining in the sky. Fair as a star when only one is shining in the sky. He's talking about that little violet flower lowly in the sky, as if it's a single star in the sky. She lived unknown, and few could know when Lucy ceased to be. When she died, nobody knew that. But she is in her grave, and oh, the difference to me. She is there, she is not there. What a tremendous difference it has made to me. That is what the poet is saying. But basically here he is saying, a violet by a mossy stone, half hidden from the eye, capital I, big I, fair as a star when only one is shining in the sky. This is what we have got as a star, uncompanioned, moves in heaven and astonished by the immensities of space. In the whole vast sky, only one star is there, but it is not afraid of the immensity of space, of night. It is not afraid of the immensity of night, you see, alone there. Now you can see how the same image has been alchemized into something which is absolutely noble, absolutely epic, absolutely grand. In Wordsworth we have got fair as a star when only one is shining in the sky. It is a lyrical moment. It is a lyrical poem. Whereas here, as a star, uncompanioned, there is a kind of vastness here, a wideness of poetry, and astonished by the immensity of space. Now here, a violet by a mossy stone, half hidden from the eye, fair as a star when only one is shining in the sky. As a star when only one is shining. Now, that only one in Wordsworth could also be a kind of a backhanded compliment. You follow? It is alone, lonely. Nobody cares in that sense, you see. As long as there is none other to compare, there is nobody else to compare with her. Therefore, she is great. Therefore, she is great. You have followed. So, in Wordsworth, it is a kind of a backhanded compliment. Because there is none else there, therefore she is great. Whereas here, in the transformed description, as a star, uncompanioned, moves in heaven, unastonished by the immensities of space, traveling infinity by its own light, the greatest, strongest, when they stand alone. Now here, it is not alone, she is not lonely because there is nobody else. Here is the greater, strongest. It is a plural, not alone. Among the great, she is also one of the great. That is the greatness of it. So how Sri Aurobindo can really transform the same image into its greatness? It has taken away the entire tinge of the backhanded compliment which could be seen in Wordsworth's description. She is alone, she is great, absolutely, no doubt at all about that. And therefore he continues, she is alone in the sky, she is not afraid. In fact, that is the fact also. A God-given might or being is their force of those great, their force. A ray from self-solitude of light, the guide. So that is the light from the self which is coming out and guiding them. The soul that can live alone with itself meets God. Its lonely universe, again, lonely universe, is the rendezvous. A day may come, now these are the prophetic lines Narada is speaking of. This is exactly what is going to happen in the case of the mother. A day may come when she must stand unhelped on a dangerous brink of the world's doom and hers. That is adverse fate she has to meet. That is adverse fate she has to meet. A day may come. Of course, this is important. He says a day may come. He doesn't say will come.
As an avatar, don't they have, they should have seen before they came that they will succeed, isn't it?
No, you see, Avatar accepts all the conditions here. You see,
Yeah, but this is definitely, I mean, Shabbat says this for the mother.
yeah, mother, yeah.
He is making a prophecy that the mother will be in that situation. Yes. So my question is, as an avatar, they know why they're coming.
Yes, of course. But then she also accepts the cosmic conditions. You see, the cosmic play is not dismissed. It is given its full value, its full weight. Well, I mean, it is not that, see, you are working in a cosmic field, so you are operating, you are accepting all the cosmic situations, all the possibilities which can spring up. See, to put it in a different way, slightly differently, if the divine wanted that there should be a divine manifestation, well, he could have done it by as a magic, as a trick. But that doesn't serve the purpose. It has to grow, it has to spring up, it has to come out from a given situation. And for that, every effort is made, every thrust is made. 6 times the creations were dissolved, 6 pralayas. The divine accepts it. Mother says, this time it will not be so. And she gives reasons also for that. So the whole cosmic play is accepted. That is important. It is not dismissed at all. We should not underestimate things which can come up from bottom. Why? Because after all, it is the divine himself who is there at the bottom. He can surprise you in many ways from below. In fact, that is what we have seen in that letter, Maurice Mauge's The Riddle of the World, that this is a possibility of the full manifestation emerging from the total inconscience. You have accepted that condition, so you have to give full value to what the inconscience can throw as surprises to you. That is the crux of the whole matter.
Can I add a part, like a teeny question? It's true that the avatar knows his mission when he comes, but once he is incarnated, embodied, does he, he still have the same conscience of this mission, or he become unconscious on this mission?
No, he may be fully conscious, he may be fully aware of it also. But, of course, but the point is, he is accepting the worldly conditions. And through that he has to work out. Means, in other words, the yogic force has to rise in the world to that extent. The yogic tapasya has to grow to meet that particular challenge. That yogic sadhana is necessary to meet the situation. And that is how you keep on building it up. A day may come. Now, Narad says again, how careful, how precise the language is, more precise than French, as I said. The day may come when she must stand unhelped, may come. Is Narad uncertain about it? He has no knowledge of it, that it will come or it will not come. He is keeping it hanging. He is not keeping it hanging, really speaking. He is cautious. He is describing a practical situation. Day may come, rather the day will come, would mean that Savitri has fully embodied in her being the divine force. When she has fully embodied the divine force in her, then it will become will come. Now Savitri is still human Savitri. She has still to do her yoga. And therefore, that element is there. Whether she will succeed or not, it depends upon how carefully, how properly she does her yoga. If she does it successfully, then it's not a question of may, it will. Savitri has to undergo through the entire process of yoga still. So Narad is very particular, very careful in making the statement. When she has done her yoga successfully, no difficulty at all. Until then, that hesitancy is there, may come. That is one way of looking at it. That Savitri is yet to do yoga. That is what is implied in this phrase, a day may come. The other way is that after all, Narad is not a supramental being with the certainty of the supramental knowledge. Narad is not a supramental being. and he cannot have the certainty of supramental knowledge. Yes, this will happen. Only he can see that. Narad, his highest station is at the top of the overmind world, bordering the supermind. It is from that station he is talking. He may get light, he may get illumination, he may get intuition from above. But finally, the utterance which is coming here is from the overmind. Is from the overmind. Therefore, may. I told you earlier, no, that somebody had asked Shivandu, did you meet Narad? Did you see Narad? And then he didn't say yes or no. He said that on one particular occasion, the mother saw him standing on the borderline between overmind and supermind. That is the highest station of Narad. It is from there he is talking. And therefore, we can understand why that hesitancy in the statement, a day may come. In fact, the whole speech is like that from that point onward. On the dangerous brink of the world's doom and hers, carrying the world's future on her lowly breast, carrying the human hope in a heart left soul, again this is soul, to conquer or fail on a last desperate verge. Again, or, you see, he is not certain. Alone with death and close to extinction's edge. Her single greatness in that last dire scene, she must cross alone a perilous bridge in time and reach an apex of world destiny where all is one or all is lost for man. So all these things are linked up with that may. A day may come, all is ours. In that tremendous silence, again, lone of a deciding hour in the world's fate, in a soul's climbing beyond mortal time, when she stands soul with death, or soul with God. Soul with death, that is one situation. And soul with God, that is another situation. And both the things are there in Savitri. When Savitri is meeting death, she is meeting death alone, face to face. Soul with death, soul with God. She is in the house of the Supreme. In the 11th canto, she is face to face with the Supreme. She has conquered death. Death is transformed into his Supreme Self. And now she is meeting that transformed death in the transcendent. She is alone with God. And there she is offered all kinds of boons. Yes, Savitri, you have done something wonderful. Welcome. Stay here, live with your husband, be happy. Alone with God, nobody else there. And there Savitri says, I'm sorry, I don't want to come here. I have not come here to stay here. I have come here to claim the soul of Satyavan for the soul of the earth. So she is challenging God himself at that point. So soul with death and soul with death. Both things are important in the yogic accomplishments of Savitri. Apart upon a silent, desperate brink, alone with the self and death and destiny. See again, self, death, destiny. And on some verge between time and timelessness. Well, being must end or life build its base. Either everything should get terminated, dissolved, or a new life be built. Alone, she must conquer, or alone must fall. Conquer or fall. So all these things are connected with that may. A day may come, you see. And then of course he is emphasizing further, no human aid can reach her in that hour. That hour comprises of both the situations of soul with death or soul with God. It is applied to both. No armored God stand shining at her side. Cry not to heaven. So he is telling this human soul, the queen, don't cry. For she alone can save. Now, there cannot be any greater assurance that can be given to the queen by Narad. This is the greatest assurance he is giving to the queen. She alone can save. Don't worry. Be calm, be quiet. Let her do her work. Intervene not. While in the earlier situations, he was kind of reprimanding her. Here now, he is giving her full assurance. She alone can save. For this, the silent force came mission down. Now that is the entire avataric work of Savitri. She has come for that. Narad has recognized the avatarhood of Savitri, what for she has come. In her, the conscious will took human shape. The will of the divine, it is that who has taken its shape in Savitri. And therefore, where are you? She only can save herself and save the world. So that is what she is going to meet. That calamity, what we have seen just now. Wait to see. Adverse fate, you see. Her hour must come. About that, there is absolutely no ambiguity in the soul of Narad. When he is bringing the word of fate and says, it is decreed that Satyavan must die, there is a kind of an absolute certainty in that. Although he is the overmind being, still he is able to get that intuition and affirm it fully. Her hour must come and none can intervene. Think not to turn her from her heaven-sent task. What is her heaven-sent task? That he is not telling at the moment. In a certain sense, he has already described while he is coming down. It is linked up, body made divine and life made bliss. That is the heaven-sent task. That can happen when death is conquered. Strive not to save her from her own high will. Now here, Narad is definitely linking up her own high will with the conscious will. In her, the conscious will took human shape. And that is her own high will. She has identified. The power of love has awakened in her, and with that, she has identified her will with a conscious will. But in order that that conscious will in her becomes effective, she has to do the yoga. And then, of course, he dismisses Savitri's mother. Thou hast no place in that tremendous strife. Thy love and longing are not arbiters there. Leave the world's fate and her to God's soul guard. That conviction he has got, that faith he has fully. Even if he seems to leave her to her known strength, he is careful again. He seems to leave her. He does not leave her. Even though all falters and falls, and sees an end, and the heart fails, and only on death and night, God given, her strength can battle against the doom. Even on a brink where death alone seems close, no human strength can hinder or can help. Now, this is exactly what happened in the case of the mother. These are the prophetic lines. Heart fails, it happened in the case of the mother. And it seemed as if only death is present there. It happened in the case of mother. Prophetic lines written in 1950. And in the case of the mother, it happened in 1962.
Means the queen here represented the people who were around mother and the last days of her life. Have you seen this? Because they avoid her a little bit, I think, to continue her work, no?
Queen represents the people around her. I doubt. I had doubts. Doubts.
No.
Yeah. Whether they really can be represented by the queen.
Because we know, according to the agenda, according to anything,
Yeah.
they really, in many ways, and she said, they won't understand, they are, no? She said that she feels around her, the people cannot understand what she is doing, and they want her to stop this war, no?
I don't know. I will not put it that way. I think in that sense, the queen is a much higher representative than people who were there around the mother. A higher representative than the people who were there around the mother. They are, in comparison with the kind of a description which you have here, rather small. And you can see the intensity with which the queen is asking questions, posing the issues, demanding answers. Who had done that kind of a tapasya amongst people who were around the mother? In that sense, I feel they are relatively small compared to the queen. They have extreme great conviction, mother, faith, etc., 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 all that. But here the occult issues are of a different magnitude altogether. Nobody had that idea at all. Nobody had that idea at all.
Yeah, but it looks also like the queen, she cannot understand, and she wants her daughter stop suffering. I mean, it's...
Yeah, but it's not like you are, yeah, but here the issue is really very deep. So I think in that sense, my personal view is that the queen is a much higher representative of humanity, grown-up humanity, who have come to that stage, than people who are there around the mother.
Can be all the humanity.
Yeah.
But representative by a small group, because all the humanity, I don't know, we are also all the humanity, but we didn't even know that mother was there. So we can speak only about the people who are around. And if you said Show Window is the avatar and he knows everything, I think when he wrote it, he knew that she will get this, no?
Yeah, yeah, but you see, but
No.
and the hard face and lonely are death and night. You think people knew about that?
How can you know this?
Huh?
It's a foresight.
Nobody knows you.
Nobody knew this.
Nobody knew about that.
That is 30 years, or 24 years, 20
Yeah.
something years later.
Yeah.
Her heart at that time was
Yeah.
failing.
Yeah.
How come he can write this?
I mean, you can go with your best psychic conviction,
See?
but coming to that is a different level altogether.
Yeah.
Possibly the best person.
I mean, I'm sure Rabindranath could project into the future.
Future, of course.
Of course, he could project in the future, and he saw this. He was master of the time, of
Yeah.
everything. He was master of the past,
Yeah.
of the present, of the future. He could see that this is how it will be.
Yeah.
There was no doubt.
Okay, I mean, for the sake of just amusement, can you name the few people who you think could come to this point around your mother? In your opinion?
I didn't understand the question.
Who, in your opinion, is coming close to the Queen to understand?
Close to the Queen.
Yeah, okay, then close to understand what Mother was trying to do. Who in the ashram?
No, they didn't understand. That's what I
He is
said.
The Queen does.
the Queen.
No, the Queen, for me, she didn't understand the Queen,
Yeah.
what her daughter has as mission. And Narad, he was explaining to her, don't interfere in this big task. No? I think because she didn't understand that her daughter has a big task and a mission.
No, no, I mean, could anybody around your mother have come to this point to understand these lines? Nobody. I don't think anybody had.
That's what I said. Nobody
Yeah.
didn't understand.
Yeah.
They were trying to stop her mission because they didn't understand what she is doing.
They did not even stop. They are ignorant. They don't know what to do. They did with their best light. Whatever they did with their best. But that best light was very weak. That is all we can say. You see.
Much later, people started to understand actually what was happening. I remember George von Becken when he wrote the book that Mother succeeded, and many people understood only then. Yes, that's true.
Yeah.
Before it was like, did she
Yeah.
succeed? Did she not succeed? They didn't even know what exactly what it was she supposed to succeed. It was when I came in '81. It was like a big confusion.
Yeah.
Nobody could really tell me because I wanted to know. I also, of course, I was very new. I asked everybody, tell me what happened, and is it done now? They didn't know, but you could tell me for
Yeah.
sure. I was surprised.
But to answer your question, because you asked me which person, I can tell you that Satram, he knew and he wrote it. I mean, I'm not saying like this because in the agenda, he was telling in the end of the agenda, I think you know, he was convinced she is doing a work and he didn't want her to live, to die, to die, understand? To answer, I think it's Satram. Satram, he knew she is in the transformation.
Possibly, I think, the only 2 or 3 names which might come to my mind, possibly to some extent Satprem, possibly Pranab, Pranab Kumar Bhattacharya, Dada Pranab. I don't know whether Nalini had that kind of depth in that sense, you see.
At least some understand. Maybe some understand.
Yeah, some, yeah. No, but not in this way. Not in this way. I would say at the moment, if at all we have to hazard names, I will hazard only these 3.
Who is the third?
Nalini, to some extent. Nalini, Pranab and Satprem, possibly, but not even to this point here. I will say to a large extent, I mean, there was some kind of a deeper occult connection between the mother and Pranab. And he had a deeper sense of perception about these things. About these things. But this is something different altogether. Now, in that context, we have very clear statement in the Life Divine. I will read that part. Page 178, Life Divine. It is a proved fact that even human life can remain in the body and can remain in full consciousness when breathing and the beating of the heart and other conditions found by doomed essential have been temporarily suspended. Temporarily suspended. Conditions formerly deemed, see, I will read again the sentence. It is a proved fact that even human life can remain in the body and can remain in full consciousness while breathing and beating of the heart and other conditions formerly deemed essential to it have been temporarily suspended.
Temporary, what does it mean? How
As
much?
if-
And time, how much?
Well, that yeah.
Can we get a few seconds or a few hours?
Well, that is what it means to say. Yeah, temporarily suspended. See, in fact, even nowadays, the medical science does not declare death with the stopping of the heart. It is breath, because that is not the certain thing. That is not a certain thing at all. But here, and the heart fails. Fails is a definitely, not temporarily. And only on death and night, God given the strength can battle against doom. Now this he wrote in 1940, Shivandu, you see, in Life Divine. See. Then he says, in another place, the body's rules bound not the spirit's powers. When life has stopped its beat, death broke not in. 18.4, 18.4, 18, 184, Canto 5. Canto 5 of Book 1. 18.4. Here, the body's rules bound not the spirit's powers. That is of course clear. Then he says, when life has stopped its beats, death broke not in. He dared to live when breath and thought was still. He he's talking of Ashwapati.
Yes, but the show window.
Of course. Now, this is important. The body's rules bound not the spirit's powers. That is straightforward. When life had stopped its beats, death broke not in. He dared to live when breath and thought was still. Now, of course, this is in the context of Ashtrapati, but it is absolutely autobiographical. Sri Aurobindo. Now, this is a thing, all the spiritual realizations which are presented in this canto, Canto 5, Sri Aurobindo as the individual, they belong to the very, very early period of his sadhana. Possibly 1908 to 1912. 1908 to 1912. 1908 when he had those great major spiritual experiences of the silent Brahman, the passive Brahman and the active Brahman. On 1st January 1908, he got the silent mind in Baroda. 1st January 1908. Yeah, around 1st January 1908. He sat with Lile for 3 days and he got the experience of the silent Brahman, which stayed with him permanently from that point onward. What is called otherwise the passive Brahman. Then in Alipur jail, within few months, maybe August 1908 or so, when he was in Alipur jail, he got the experience of realization of the active Brahman, where he saw Vasudeva everywhere, God everywhere. So, within 6 to 8 months, he had got very major spiritual realizations. And from that point onward, his sadhana became very rapid, progressed very rapidly, you see. In fact, when he was in jail, he wrote a poem, The Mother of the Dreams, in which you have the first reference to Krishna and Kali. In 1908, Krishna and Kali are playing. That's the first reference to Krishna and Kali in his yogic life. And then later on, of course, in the record, you see it in a number of places. And in Savitri, in the last canto, we have got 11th canto, we got the full description. But that thing is already present in him till 1908. So it is at that time of his sadhana, yoga, we have got these lines here. When life had stopped its beats, death broke not any. The sadhana which he was doing in the physical, in the Alipur jail, he looked as if that he could do levitation, climb up also, you see. He dared to live when breath and thought was still. Now, this is the kind of the spiritual biography which you have to see here, not etc. etc. The body's rules bound not the spirit's power, but leave her to her mighty self and fate. Think not to intercede. Again, he says, intervene, intercede. Intrude not twixt her spirit and its force, but leave her to her mighty self and fate. Now, this is the absolutely last line dictated by Sri Aurobindo. And the last word which he uttered is fate. Around 15th November 1950. So in poetry, the last phrase is this one: leave her to her mighty self and fate. In prose, what was the last word uttered by Sri Aurobindo or written by Sri Aurobindo or dictated by Sri Aurobindo? He wrote those 8 articles connected with the mind of light in the bulletin, you see. And the one which was published in November 1950 bulletin, So around maybe first week of November or so, the 8th article was dictated by him. And there we have got the last prose statement made by Sri Aurobindo. The last phrase is, the life of a new humanity. Life of a new humanity. That is absolutely the last phrase uttered by Sri Aurobindo in his prose writings. See, it appeared in the bulletin November 1950. But it is there in the book form, the supramental manifestation.
It's in the
Yeah. In the supramental, the 8th article. The last phrase is the life of a new humanity. That is in prose, and in poetry, absolutely the last. Leave her to her mighty self and fate. And then of course he says again hidden will, that is a secret will, divine will, and all that things. Well, there is a last bit, but I think we'll take it next time. There are many other things which you can see. Let me quickly tell you a few things before we just to amuse ourselves. Here I have collected a few facts. Narad's speech in the second canto only, what we have got now in the second canto. So there are in all 203 sentences which he uttered, or 588 lines. Narad's full speech is section-wise is here. And then, if you take 588 lines, roughly 600 lines, and say each line takes about 7.5 seconds to utter, to speak out, to read a line. How long it takes? About so the total number of time which he has spent in uttering those is 4,500 seconds, or 75 minutes.
Yeah, but this is very, very subjective. It depends. If you need 7 seconds, maybe me, I need 15
Maybe
seconds.
here and there, but basically the normal speed is you when you are uttering, not reading, you are speaking it out.
Yes.
Speaking it out. Roughly it takes about 7.5 seconds to read a line. Roughly, you see. So in other words, he was speaking on the whole for 75 minutes. 75 minutes. In comparison with that, the queen, with whom the whole dialogue started, she spoke for about 20 minutes, according to this estimate. And in between, we have a very short interlude by Ashwapati, just 45 seconds. 45 seconds. So, in other words, the total session in this context is roughly 95 minutes, or maybe say that between 90 to 100 minutes is roughly 1.5 hours approximately. So they were talking for 1.5 hours, you see.
But they were also sitting in silence.
So the whole thing went on. The whole thing went on roughly for 1.5 hours, you see. So my idea was, of course, I will give the data again next time. My idea was to find out when Narad had really come to the palace, at what. We have a definite knowledge that he left the palace at noon. At noon, 12 o'clock. So we have to now work back in terms of time to determine when he had come to the palace. And my rough estimate is that he had come roughly around 8 o'clock in the morning. He stayed there for about 4 hours, and he talked and all that kind of. So it was a session for about 4 hours in the morning. So if Narad had come at 4 o'clock in the morning, 8 o'clock in the morning, then Savitri returns to the palace 9 o'clock, 1 hour after Narad's arrival. Early at 9 o'clock she comes. See. And all these things happen, you see. Well, we had to still work out. Now we have to see other details from that point of view, you see.
You are very curious to know at what time he came.
Yeah, it's very important. Yeah. Yeah.
So
So,
he spent only 4 hours.
4 hours. He doesn't get there. Yeah, yeah.